Welcome back to day 7 of our 100-day challenge. Beautiful sunny morning today. We're actually going to show you the exercises today. I know it was annoying yesterday, but a good learning tool after a week or so of doing this to lose the crutch of the visual aid for a moment, or partially lose it, and see how much you remember. And we took that as a chance to talk about some other ideas, some more internal ideas for the practice. But today, let's wake up to this beautiful Sunday, starting with head pats, chest pats. Let's get our body feeling great. Maybe you're sleepy from the night before, maybe you slept great, maybe you stayed up late, maybe you had a couple drinks, maybe you always feel stiff in the morning. Who knows? Let's refresh our body, wake it up, make it feel a couple notches better than it did before. Patting around the ribs, the upper digestive tract, down around the thigh crease where all the big lymph nodes are, and then up around the collarbone and the side of the neck, more lymph nodes, and just a big area of excess tension. The patting we'll talk about more over time. There's several different ways to do it, but I want to remind of the 3 things it's definitely doing. 1, breaking up tension in tight muscles. It's really good for that. We're always accumulating tension unless we reset back to a relaxed state. We just become harder and harder in our tissues. Over the kidneys now. 2, it is moving blood flow. 3, it is moving lymphatic fluid, this waste fluid, waste material pathway in the body. All of our cells sort of get rid of their trash into this fluid, and it processes out of our body. Down the back of the legs, waking up the knees, the hamstrings. Hello down there, all the way to the feet. Up the inside of the arch, inside of the calves and knees. Part of your mind is focused on patting the area. The other part is already cueing into your breathing. So we're going to stop taking dedicated breathing moments outside of our standing. So in our basic standing and then throughout our exercises, right now, put part of your mind on expanding your waist area, the low back, the low belly, the sides. Expanding it with an inhale, shrinking it with an exhale. Stand for a moment, notice how the body feels, and let's reach the hands up to the sky. Oh, those shoulders are stiff. Sometimes, for whatever reason, you're going to come to the movement feeling not the best, not the most refreshed. This morning I'm not the most refreshed. And so we take a sort of gentle, slow attitude towards it. We don't want to sort of whine inside of our head about or complain about how we feel. And we don't want to be cavalier and try to erase all the strain in our body with bravado in our movement. But we're just going to smoothly and slowly, paying close attention, simply walk through our movements, side to side with the ribs here. Flexing one side, shrinking the other side of the ribs, and then folding down. Now the challenge or strain or complication of any movement will often attract your whole attention, and you may feel some kind of stress of, am I doing this right, or am I forgetting anything, or this feels tight, or that hurts. But try to start putting a piece of your mind, of your awareness, on that breathing. Here we're turning the back foot out, arching over that front foot in a diagonal. How does every different movement change or increase or decrease your ability to fill the waist, the low back, the low belly with breath. Other side now. Sort of like if we were doing these exercises on the beach in sort of a low tide time. So the tide's gently lapping in and lapping out. We're doing whatever movements we're doing, but the tide does not pay attention to our movements. It's always flowing in, flowing out. That's sort of like the breath. We set the breath as the sort of set pace or the base metronome, base rhythm for what we're doing. And we're always kind of appreciating that tide coming in and out, just noticing it, observing it, while we stretch our arms, twist our spine, rotating with firm legs here, rotating the hips and the spine, keeping the feet anchored. Letting the head follow the arms at first. And then we'll let our head stay stationary. Feel a little more rotation in our upper spine and neck. So there's this sort of relaxation that comes from that practice. After a while, you're just starting to get to watch the tide as you do whatever. As you do the arm swings or the rolling the shoulders here, just to make sure my shoulders feel like they're creeping up towards my ears a bit. So I want them low. They can really move freely of my body here, my neck. So as we're turning the arms, or pivoting turning the hips, letting the arms swing, we always get to sort of watch this in-breath and out-breath. This sort of firm expansion, contraction of the low belly area, circling the hips now. First one way and then the other. So we can let ourselves feel stiff or tired or unmotivated. Let ourselves feel that way and then choose to do the exercises to our greatest ability. No more is needed. And it's even fine that we feel that way. Small pelvic rotations here. One of the biggest challenges we'll find as time goes on, you'll have moments or days or weeks even where you feel like $1,000,000 after. You really connected with that exercise, your shoulder had more range, you finally felt something move in your back, your whatever it is, some big success. Maybe a real positive change in your attitude. We're going to do our shakes here now after doing our pelvis and hip warm-ups. That can be one of the biggest obstacles, because then whenever you next come to the practice and you don't feel that way, that's pretty disappointing. And it's pretty distracting. And you think, oh man, I felt so great when I did this yesterday, and today it feels awkward, I'm bored, can't tell if it's doing anything, I must be doing it wrong, or maybe this stuff doesn't work, or you have all these kind of thoughts distracting you. It might not be for everyone. For me, shifting side to side now, putting a little weight, just casual weight on each hip. For me, that's been a big obstacle over the years of doing this, 15, 20 years or so. A big deterrent of going further into it. It's just kind of disappointment when it doesn't deliver. But, that's life. Cool thing is, we still get to do a good, constructive, loving thing, or at least make the effort, even if we don't feel like it, even if we don't seem to gain much reward from it. And now we're going to begin trying to articulate the side of the spine, so shifting the hips first and the ribs and the head last. Oh, this is a stiff area for me this morning. Cool thing is, over time, you may see it in other areas of life, but you'll look back and see that sort of dedication you put into doing something good and constructive. It paid off in a bigger way than you could tell in that moment. So the sort of longer term effects. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I've observed over the years people that apply that principle in a lot of areas of their life, now extending the top arm, rotating the head first, reaching the top arm away from the foot. People that apply that in a lot of areas in their life, they sometimes have some difficulty doing it in their self-care, if you will, or their health routines, exercise or fitness routines. For whatever reason, it's easier to get discouraged there. Trying to let the whole spine move from the head first through the rib cage into the low back, like a fish or a lizard or a snake. They move side to side. I think part of it surely is we are just surrounded. We've always been surrounded by youth and beauty and fitness in marketing, and we worship those things culturally. But now it is just everywhere. Sinking down now, sitting the hips down, 3 breaths here, pressing the hands together, calming the face, calming the mind, even though there's effort. We're just surrounded. People are making millions on different social media, YouTube, just basically showing off their body, their youth, their fitness routines. And it's really sort of an idol of vanity and pride and all sorts of other things. It seeps in deep, and we're sort of raised in it, steeped in it. So I think sometimes when we come to our health practices, we have this sort of strange standard, this keeping the eyes forward as much as possible here, this artificial, fabricated standard of what strength, beauty, youth, health should look like. And man, we just don't add up. But good news is all that's fake. Sure, there are people, genetics and whatever. People have different lives, they have different strengths, privileges and all that, but you have plenty to work with today in your life. Phoenix stretch now, folding over the front hip. And your relationships and all of your imperfection, you have wiggle room to make it better. And we're starting here with our mental, physical health, building blocks, rest, food, and movement. We don't skip a meal usually. We don't skip sleep usually. We're not going to skip movement for these 100 days. We're going to see what, when we apply a very sophisticated, simple system to moving our body, what does it do for the other parts of our life? Second set now, using the elbows, reaching one elbow towards that foot, imagining that your elbow's getting closer. It is. Day by day, it's getting a little closer. Even here, this is quite a physical movement, but we want to be breathing in to that belly and that back, exhaling, emptying there. Filling the back, stretching the ribs and shoulders. And just reach the arms up. We've been bent over. Just stretch up for a minute. Now we'll end before standing with our lung exercise. We do this often in the beginning. But after we've done things very physical, like stretching in the back, engaging the back, the sort of smooth gentleness of this motion, the simple focus of this pivot in the chest, upper back, reestablishing a good respiratory rhythm, filling of the back, fluid motion in the chest. and upper back. It's a good way to end. Calming everything down. So we'll stand here for a moment. So I encourage you, I don't really subscribe to the "we're so awesome, everything we do is great, we're perfect" mentality. But know that just showing up here and doing this, it may be something that's sort of odd for you or something new or different. But you're making a good faith effort, and that's worth believing in, having faith in. And your persistence will yield results, probably more results than you know, and results that'll show up over time. So I commend you. Enjoy this day. Breathing here, making everything round in the upper body. Relax in the upper body while it is in this shape, lower body anchoring us down. And relax in the hands. And let's just gather those hands onto the belly, using the legs and the weight shift. Let's just circulate the hands and the warmth and energy in them from our movement around the abdomen, tracing the path of the digestion, encouraging movement and good health there. Have a wonderful, blessed, healthy day. Thank you for being here, sharing part of your day with us, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.